Hey guys, what's up? Your boy Honest Blade. Let me just fix my camera a little bit. Excuse me, had a burp too. Excuse me, had a burp again. So, anyways, it's your boy Honest Blade back with another video. So, this video right here, as you can tell for the title, thumbnail, whatever, I want to give my thoughts on what I would like to see in the King of Fighters 15. Now, of course, I will make this video again in the future, probably a year or two from now, and God allows it, because tomorrow's never promised to us. We just gotta take a day at a time. But anyways, I do want to talk about what I hope to see in the King of Fighters 16. Now I want to say this here. Do I expect everything that I hope to see actually happen? Absolutely not. It's unrealistic because SK cannot make King of Fighters 16 just for Onyx. There's no such way. Even if I was a multi-millionaire. Now, if I was a multi-millionaire, I would ask to make me a specific King of Fighters game that only I could play, or my friends who want to come over. But that's besides the point. That's neither here or there. Now, for those of us outside of matchmaking, I'm not really going to talk too much about matchmaking. I'm not talking about the technical stuff too much. Obviously, they should have good modes, a story mode, or arcade mode, a time attack mode, a survival mode, and I'm kind of just baffled how King Fighters 14 had all these things, but 15 left out a lot of things that 14 introduced, and even gave us a half-ass boss rush mode. What I hope to see King Fighters 16, first and foremost, I think I said this before. I said this to my good friend Chris Lotus. I said this to my friend Damien. I said this to anyone who ever had came to my King of Fighters related streams. I do want the Shunei saga to be over. I don't think that needs to be continuing on because honestly, the new Age saga, outside of cool new characters, it was just pointless. Because Verse was just you pretty much a tool to bring back deceased fan favorites along with Dolores and Otamawaga. Outside of her design, that reminds me of like a really cool Yu-Gi-Oh card. She was a nothing burger, and I'm still pissed off to this day. And I'm not even a big fan of the character. It's just to me, it's the principle. Because in King of Fighters 14, both Anton and Verse were playable. Not only they were fightable bosses, you was also able to play them. It's crazy to me that Reverse wasn't made playable. Finally, Otamawaga, due to the way she plays, I'm not happy about it, but I can accept Otamawaga not being playable. Outside, game hacks, which is obviously a hack for a reason. But no way in God's good green fucking earth should Reverse not been playable. Reverse should have been an unlockable character, or for those who don't want to unlock her, a very cheap DLC. But the fact that neither Otamawaga and Reverse were playable, yet SK made sure to make Verse, who was the game's final boss, anti-playable for competitive, was very idiotic in my opinion, and also lazy on SK's part because Reverse definitely had all the tools to be playable. All you had to do is give her a proper level 1 and give her some. You change the property to certain moves, like for example, her fireball projectile. Obviously, in her sub boss version, it's what you go. I'm trying to think of the right wording. It can't be reflected, and it could trying to think another way too. What another way to explain it? It could be reflected, and she also had a slash attack, like it's like a speedy Russian attack that you can knock her out with projectiles. And obviously, a playable version will her be slightly toned down, where only the EX version will go to projectiles, and her regular fireballs could be reflected, for instance. But the fact that Reverse was not made playable was absolutely asinine to me. But I'm getting a little off on topics, so let me get back to talk about King of Fighters 16. So what I want for King of Fighters 16, I always said the end of the Shunei saga. But that being said, I definitely 100% want Shunei in the King of Fighters 16. I do not want him axed from it. Out of the order of King of Fighters newcomers from the Shunei saga, the Hero saga, whatever you want to call it, Shunei, Meitenkun, Isla, Dolores, Kukri, Zarina, of course, that's a bias of mine. Chances she'll return in 16, I don't know. But I definitely want Zarina back. Nelson, not my favorite, but I think Nelson was a cool addition overall. Mion, Alice, Hein, Xanadu, And I'm trying to think what other newcomer I think definitely deserves to be Luong. But Luong to me, I feel SK likes Luong. So out of order the newcomers I mentioned, I feel majority of the staff at SK likes Luong. So I think Luong is safe. I hope for Luong outside of her getting a new climax super. Because if she comes back with King by 16 with that net break super again, I'm like, oh God, mama, I love you down, Luong. I love you down. But they had to give you a new super at this point. You've been coming with that same super since your debut. I hope they actually elevate Luong's story because I don't want Luong to be this sexy deception Vietnamese woman, but nothing comes from her deception. I actually want to see some of her plans, brought into fruition. What's her scheme? What is Luong's end game? I do want to get a better, clear idea of that coming to 16. But in terms of like Luong, I feel like she's safe. I think I'll be gagged if somehow Luong's omitted from. I'm trying to get to. I think omit is the right word. Forgive me if I'm wrong. From King by 16. I feel like that's a character SK generally loves. So I think Luong is one of those characters she's gonna be there forever. Like from 14, she'll never miss a KF game. From 14 and up. That's just my opinion on Luong. But those are the newcomers. Now, but outside that, I definitely want SK to start being so safe with the roster. There are certain veteran characters who they now time for them to sit down. There are. Now, the characters I feel like it's a SK's pretty much shooting this up for the foot. They omit them from the roster. Kyo, Iori, K-Dash, Kula, Leona, Mai Shiranui, Terry Bogard, Ryo Zakazaki, Yuri Zakazaki. To me, I like King, but I wouldn't be sad to see King sit down. I wouldn't be like, ugh! But at the same time, I think after the whole 2002 original version, not the Ultimate Match, where SK omitted King for Mei Lee, and that caused a lot of backlash, even hurt Mei Lee's popularity, because a lot of people felt the type of way when Mei Lee took King's spot in King Fights 2002, and does King end up being a bonus character in the home console version of 2002. But I know a lot of King fans were pissed off when King was benched for Mei Lee. But let's be real, King had more opportunities than Mei Lee because Mei Lee, what? I think if I'm correct, she has King of Fighters 2001, which is her debut game, 2002, Neo Wave, I'm not 100% sure, but I think she was in Neo Wave, and she has the King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. Mei Lee's a very neglected character. So, for instance, speak of Mei Lee Jinju, Mei Lee needs to be base roster in King by 16. Some way, somehow, she needs to be in 16. I honestly feel like SK really dropped the ball with 15 in terms of not treating KO at 15 like Tekken 7. You know how Tekken 7 had years and years of content and DLC? I feel that's how King Fights 15 should have been treated, but SK decided, they was ready to do other things. Fine. Not if I had a say so, they would still be working on 15 as well as working on City of the Wolves, but I had no sway over SK. So it is what it is. But I definitely want to see the characters who are really underrepresented in King Fights 16. Now, honestly, you don't bring in a bunch of the oddballs like you say Foxy, Malin, Guy Tendo, Jazu, Shion. But I do, those characters I mentioned, I like them. I'm just saying, you still want to have characters who are recognizable. Like I would say, a good fan favorite. I don't think these characters like super duper popular, but people kind of like wig the fuck out. They were around. Whip. I'm trying to think of another good character. Ramon maybe. And I know Antonov became a fan favorite due to his very unique personality for a boss. Very charismatic personality. Antonov is one of the coolest boss characters SK's ever created. Now, is he the most unique in terms of visual moves and stuff like that? No. But he's very charismatic. And I think that says a lot. And he's the first KO boss, to my knowledge, that's not evil. He honestly just wanted to have a good fight. No world domination type schemes he had in mind. Or turning people into statues like Rugo Bernstein. But I definitely want King of Fighters 16 to start bringing in more the Harley youth characters like Lin, Foxy, Shion. And along with that, SK, I'm begging. This is the one thing I hope that does happen 100%. Please use the maximum impact characters. You don't gotta bring them all in. You ain't gotta bring my favorites in. Like, and my main favorite is Mignon Burt, but I'm cool with seeing Albemarle, Kay Lim, and Louise Maywink. Albemarle, Louise Maywink, Leanne Neville. Albemarle, Story Mirror, Louise Maywink. Whatever. But I would like to see a team, or even at least two characters that are maximum impact originals. And not just them mentioned in someone's story, them actually playable. Now, if they don't make base roster, please make them season 1 DLC. But it's high time the maximum impact characters became playable. I think I'll just be super duper frustrated. I'm speaking for myself. I can't speak for all maximum impact fans. I'm only speaking for me here. But I'll be very fucking pissed if this is another game of KOF where there's no maximum impact characters. And I want to see, well, Cooler Diamond's going to have this snowman move that's for the maximum impact games, or Yuri Zakizaki can now do a projectile attack while she's in the air. No, I want actual maximum impact characters. Not just the music, not them as background cameos. I want them playable. The only character I don't want to see is Jabatma. Hyena, but I actually don't hate Hyena. I just think that's just more like, it feels like if Hyena was to be in a proper KOF game, and as the only maximum impact the only maximum impact representation, I think that's kind of like, I feel like a jab for SK, like, here, you got your maximum impact character, shut the fuck up. It wouldn't feel genuine, because I feel like you want to be serious with a good representation. For the maximum impact series, you're going to pick Albemarle, who is long overdue, Shalon, Leanne Neville, Louise Maywink, Nagase, or my personal favorite, Mignon Burt, or her sister, Ninon Burt. That's just me, of course. Next thing, the roster. As I'm going to go back to, I talked to them briefly. Outside the core fan favorites, I'll also add Ralph and Clark to that. Even though I'm going to be real with y'all, Ralph and Clark kind of winning their course for me. And not because I hate them. I actually like them. I like Clark more than Ralph, but I like both the Ikari Warriors. It's just, to me, I feel like the Ikari Warriors example of, it's very like vanilla. It's like you don't do nothing with the only time the Ikari Warriors that comes kind of shake up, which really wasn't a shake up. It's because, let's be real, integrate Leona into the King of Fighters 11 system would have been hell. Would have been hell for SK. That's why Whip got in over Leona. Yes, it's obviously for story reasons, at the end of the King of Fighters 2003, Leona went into her wire of Blood Virgin, so they had to, Ralph and Clark had to calm her down, and because of that, they benched her for King of Fighters 11. But not only was she benched story-wise to me, she was also benched because Leona is predominantly a charge character. Imagine trying to make Leona work in King of Fighters 11's tag system. Imagine. So it was a better call to put in Rip instead as the Ikari team. But like I said, I just want the Ikari team to get some kind of shake-up. Like I said, I'm not saying, what I personally like to see, I like to see Leona paired up with Vanessa and Blue Mary in the King of Fighters 16, make a new secret agents team, but of course this time all the members can trust each other. Because obviously Luong, spoiler alert, for those if you at this point, King 15's been out for a long minute, so I'm not worried about spoilers on this part. Luong was not really working alongside Blue Mary and Vanessa for the right reasons. She had her own motives. Whereas Leona, Blue Mary, and Vanessa will be a cohesive team, all on the same page. And what you do with Ralph and Clark, if that piece of shit Maximum comes back to Team K-Dash, which most likely he will, that's a character I'm really sick of seeing. You could put Whip with Ralph and Clark, or B, what I like to see, Ralph, Clark, and Theo. I would love to see that. Now, of course, if Theo were to be in the game, obviously she would also feel like not only should be a Metal Slug representation, she would somewhat count as a Maximum Impact representation, because she made her fighting game debut in the Maximum Impact series. For those who don't know, they would have to tone down some of the wackiness of Theo's moves in Maximum Impact, because Theo has some really wacky moves, like her machine gun attack. The only thing I can see Theo keeping is her little anchor strike, her grenade stuff. And when I love that move. The move she better have it when she runs past you and she puts a bomb on her opponent and they blow up. That move she got to keep. But they would have to tone down Theo's more very out there moves to make it more in line with the KRF characters. Now, of course, KRF's a game that has characters like Dolly Dagger in them, Nakawuru, And you had characters like freaking trying to think of something really outlandish. Verse for that instance is very outlandish, but you look at the previous KOF bosses, not really. So that works like that. And I do expect to see Iori teamed up with Vice and Mature again in King of Fighters 16. I do expect that, which I won't be upset about that. Vice, because I like Vice. Um, but I would like to see Iori teamed up with two newcomers in a sense, like two newcomers that kind of help establish them. But this be the first time he does not beat them up at the end of the game or the end of his team ending. And Vice and Mature is just either there as single entries or they're teamed up with another character. Not Rugo and not Genes. Maybe Out of Hell would be a cool one, but that's just me. But I'm also not gonna be upset if I see the regular Iori team, which is him, Vice and Mature. But now the next thing I'm gonna get to King of Fighters 16. I know this might sound strange, but I feel like King of Fighters has this feeling to it, especially in King of Fighters 99 and they had it in 99. Now also saying King of Fighters 11. I want King of Fighters to have a really urban feel to it, and not like, oh, that means they have more black characters. Even though I'd love to see a new black woman fighter, something aligned to Capcom's Kimberly, Street Fighter Kimberly, however you want to say it, a more like a vibrant, fun black girl. Because Dolores is there, so let's not act like SK don't got black women. I used to think Foxy was a black woman, but I actually saw more artwork of Foxy. Foxy is not black. She's Venezuelan, allegedly, but even then, she's like a white Latina woman, which is nothing wrong with that, obviously. But outside Dolores and Zarina, to me, I believe Zarina is a Afro Latina. That's me. It's not 100% confirmed. It's just something I believe. I could be dead ass wrong, but based on what I see, I do believe Zarina is an Afro Latina. Hopefully, SK would confirm that sooner than later. Because you cannot tell me Banderas ain't black. And Nelson looks like a black man as well. So I do believe all Team South America are Afro Latinos. Banderas, obviously, because his last name Hattori. Banderas is like Lord Masuda and Sean Masuda for Street Fighter, half Brazilian, half Japanese. But I do want to see a more funky, upbeat, urban black girl in KOF. That's the example of the thumbnail, and I will give the credit to the person in the description, of course. It's actually their rendition of this character called Chassis Detroit from this game, Time Spitters. But I'm not really here to talk about that. But the reason I used that picture of Chassis that they made on the thumbnails to prove my point, I want to see a more upbeat urban black girl. Now, my whole thing is, what I really thought was going to happen, SK was going to give the answers to Kimberly by giving Iji Kusawagi his own apprentice, like a female apprentice that was like from either United States or from like a different place other than Japan. I kind of want to see that. Cause I'd love to see someone use a modern take of Iji Kusawagi's moves. But I'm also in the idea that Iji Kusawagi deserves to be more KF games as well. And I'd like to see him team up with Billy Khan again. But I definitely want King of Fighters 6 to have an urban feel to it. I definitely want to see that. And I want them to have a roster size. It doesn't have to be King of Fighters 14, but a nice juicy roster size. But my main thing is outside like Kyo, Iori, Terry, Mai, Yuri, Leona, Ralph Clark, K-Dash, Kula, and Rio, if I didn't mention him already. I definitely want them to play with the roster more. Like, I went back to King of Fighters 11 where they took more risk with the roster, which to me had one of the best rosters in the game. And along with taking more risk, more Ash Saga representation. Ash Saga, overall, now you go back to it, SK really took a big shit on the Ash Saga in terms of representation. Not story, not game, outside of King of Fighters 12. To me, I didn't hate King of Fighters 12, but I would admit it was not a good game. The Ash Saga characters, outside of a very small handful, really got shitted on. That game didn't even get a Dream Match game. They didn't even get it. So I really hope SK makes it up to a lot of the Ash Saga characters, but make them more involved in King of Fighters 16. If it does not end up being a Dream Match or the continuation of the Shunei Saga, whatever you want to call it. Next thing, I know a lot of people want the tag system come back, and I'm not against that. So that they're to come back, I'm not gonna say like, oh my god, no. King of Fighters 11 is my favorite KF game. That game has a tag system. But one thing I definitely want back, I want to see your teammates sitting in the background of the game, like in the background of the stage, and like either cheering on their partner character, or when their partner character gets knocked out, they go like, oh man, like they're disappointed. I definitely want that back in King of Fighters 16. And I would love to see, more unique stages, like more like the more crazier shifting stages like you had in King of Fighters 99 and even King of Fighters 94 Rebout. I like to see stuff like that. And overall, a cohesive story, more unique colors, not just like, because to this day I'm still pissed off that Cooler Diamond. I don't even play the character like that. They kept her with one hair color in all throughout King of Fighters 14, 15. Like I remember days where Cooler used to have different hair colors. I want stuff like that back. Um, so overall, this is just what I want to see for it, and what I hope King of 16 will be. I mean, as I get older and time goes on, I have more ideas. I will make a future video about this. So just consider this like a part 1. But yeah, I definitely want that for King of 16 because that's the only thing I'm really excited about. I mean, I'm not too crazy about City of the Wolves or this new art of fighting game that SK is working on. I really don't care. For those who are into it, enjoy it. I'm just speaking for myself, obviously. And really, that's my thoughts at the very moment. Gameplay, honestly, keep it in line with the other KF games. Like, keep it as fast and smooth and combos flow nicely like King of Fighters 15. Please don't make it like City of the Wolves. I do not like the combo structure of that game. I don't. And that's it. I hope to see Zarina. I hope to see Massive Impact representation. And I definitely want the game to have a more of an urban feel to it. And that's it for now. And definitely, as you can see in the thumbnail, Vox Reaper needs to be in King of Fighters 16. That's it. Love you guys. Honest Blade out. Ciao.